today we're going to focus on what I call a lure hand, okay, and this has several uses. Firstly, I use it to prevent the puppy jumping. I use it to teach them not to bite my hands, and it's a really good exercise for teaching them some self-control as well. And we're going to build this up and teach 6 simple movements, again about balance. So I want my dog to be able to move in different ways and use themselves in different ways. You know, I think dogs are very much kind of one-sided, as we are, I think, predominantly left-sided, from what I can see with my dogs and other dogs that I work with. So we're going to try and get them to use themselves in a more balanced way by doing 6 kind of simple movements. And these are fun-based kind of exercises. Again, using them to kind of break up some of your training, make it a little bit more interesting. So my lure hand, essentially, is a fist. I have a piece of food in there. Okay, I point my index finger and then I have my thumb alongside it. And this picture is almost saying to the puppy, the food is coming. Now, if I have food in my hand and the puppy can see it, obviously, potentially, I'm going to cause kind of biting at the food. You might end up clicking as the puppy's doing the position, but you inadvertently end up kind of clicking and kind of biting your hand as well, which is what you don't want to do, because they will take on board what's happening at the time when you clicked. I'm afraid the dogs don't go with the majority. You could have 10 clean clicks and then all of a sudden you kind of click them once for biting and they go, oh no, you want me to bite. Okay, so I wish they would go with the majority, but they tend not to. So we're going to teach them just to follow this initially, nice and slowly, without biting the hand, without jumping at the hand. Okay, right, so we're going to try. Little Max here, let's take a little snuffle mat away. I'm afraid you're only going to see my legs, but it's more important for you to see the dog. Okay, so we take some food. Okay, I'm just going to pop a little bit in my hand, okay, and then it's hidden from the puppy, remember, okay, and I've got this lure hand. Yep. And then I open it and feed her in the bowl, okay, the bowl will encourage the tongue. Yep. Okay, so you can join in with your puppies if they're there. So lure, yep. Now, if she were biting and jumping at my hand, which she isn't, yep, okay, a couple of things I can do. Be a little bit of a further step ahead of them, so get ahead of them, yep, okay, so you can see I had a larger gap then, okay, before the puppy kind of got to the food, so let me just show you that again. So I start over here, yep, okay, and it gives me plenty of chance to kind of get ahead of the puppy to get some good clicks in. Yep, ideally I want the puppy to get it right from the outset. What you could do, if the puppy gets to your hand and is biting, okay, she's not actually biting, she's just licking, yep, okay, so I'm going to mark that. I could remove my hand. Just pause for a second and start again, but try and you want it to really, the puppy to get it right to encourage them, okay, so try to remember the second time, put your hand a little bit further away, yep. So now I've changed to my left hand, and the reason for that is that I am right-handed, so I know I probably end up feeding the dog too much with my right hand, and my left hand becomes of no value to the dog. Yep. But I want it to be of value, so we want them to equally, whatever we do on one side, ideally we're doing on the other side. Yep. Okay, the food is not exposed at all until I mark and open my hand. Remember those pauses. Yep. And then I open and feed. Okay. So capture the behaviour with your marker word. You've got 3 seconds in actual fact to feed then, so don't be in a rush. Yep, to give them the food. Okay, I've got all crumbly food, making you sneeze, is it? Dr. Crumb. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to increase it from changing from one hand to the other. So follow this one, and then this one. Yep. Okay, so I can change it from one hand to the other hand. Okay, so let's look at that again. So we'll start with the left and change to the right. Yep. Yeah, she had a little bit of a look at the left then, so my left hand went behind my back as soon as I could see she was doing that. So we're going to go left hand, change to right. Yep. Okay, and let's go right hand and change to left. Yep. Good. So once your puppy's doing that, and you may be at that stage for a little while until the puppy's getting used to kind of not biting, not jumping, okay, and I very much keep my hand level with the puppy to try and discourage that jumping. Don't get me wrong, they could be pawing your hands because it's at that kind of level. Yep. Good. Okay, so once you've kind of got that underway, and puppy's happily following left hand, happy following your right hand, and happy changing from one hand to the other, then we're going to have a look at 6 simple movements, okay? So, let's get my hand loaded. Okay, and we're just going to move the puppy in a circle. Yep. Okay, move the puppy in a circle. Yep. Okay, try and do it nice and slowly so the puppy's having to use each leg. Yep. So imagine you've got a cone on the floor and you're walking the puppy round the cone. Yep. Okay, nice and slowly, you're trying to keep them in that walk. Okay, remember walk is the most important pace for them to use themselves balanced. Yep. Good. Yep. Nice. Okay, so eventually that's what I would name these things, but I want the puppy being able to move. I'm going to get my lower hand higher up. Yep. Yep. Without the puppy jumping. Okay, then I might be, yep, at a stage to put a name to it. Yep. I like to teach the puppy the left side and the right side, so I do call it left and right. It is a little bit confusing though, because with the puppy facing you, it's the opposite to you, isn't it? So we would go left, yep, left, yep, right, yep. Good girl. Okay, so that's 2 of the simple movements. The next ones I find are really, really good for confidence building. Yeah, a lot of rescue dogs, it would take quite a while to kind of teach them this and for them to have the confidence, okay, to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to load our lower hand, quickly place it behind your knee, show it to puppy, yep, feed in the bowl alongside you. Okay, so face puppy again, yep, I dropped a crumb. Yep. Yep. Nice. Good, baby. Use it, little girl. Okay. Yep. Yep. You can see she was predicting then what I was going to do. There we go. I'm going to go the other way. Remember, they learn very quickly in patterns, so see how she's kind of learning the pattern. Okay. Then I would, once we're ready, once we've got this on an easier cue, yep. Okay, so I'm standing up a bit higher, I don't have to bend so much. Yep. Okay, I would be ready to start naming them. Now, where you put words is really important for the dog to learn the words. So remember, things can't be done simultaneously. Okay, so I can't go under, okay, because the dog's not going to learn the word. Their preference is always going to be to watch. Okay, so I need to say the word and then show her what it means. Under. Yep. Good girl. Under. Yep. Good girl. Well done, baby. Well done. Yep. Nice. Good girl. Yep. Good girl. Nice. And that's just me just stopping her predicting and just marking some cue seeking. Yep. In between. We'll talk about why I'm doing that in a moment. Let's go on to the other ones and the reason we were changing hands. So, 2 more simple movements. So go round me from left to right and go round me from right to left. Okay, so let's have a look. I've got both hands loaded. So we follow the finger around this way, change, yep. You've got to be careful how you change behind you because it's got to be obvious to the puppy. So let me turn my back and just do that so you can see. So she follows this one, then this one disappears, yep, and you can see how she just followed the other hand. Yep, good. Okay, and we're trying to get it to a point where we can just use this, yep, and go all the way round. Okay, so you can see I've done some work on this with Mex before. Okay, now we're going to go the other way. Okay, so there and change. Yep. Okay, until we can get it to the point, yep, where they're beginning to get the idea. Whoosh. I'm just going to end the exercise for her a second, and we're just going to kind of talk about those, okay? So the dog is moving to the left side and the right side. We're doing equal amounts of either side. If a dog found it particularly harder going one way, I probably would work on that direction more. You should see when you're working on your left and right that the dog will naturally find it easier one way more than the other. Try and work on the way where they're not finding it so easy, so that you're promoting kind of balance within that. Okay, now you can see when I was doing that session, and yesterday I talked about my favourite behaviour being cue seeking, my default behaviour. Obviously, because I'm just training you how to do those movements, I haven't put that in as the default within that session. But what you can see is the dog beginning to predict, and this will happen in all of your training. You know, you might announce to the puppy, oh, we're going to do some training, and they've already sat and laid down and run round you and gone through your legs and done a twist before you've even said anything. Okay? Remember, you're trying to get your default behaviour as cue seeking. Okay? So you need to be able to mark that in between those exercises. Okay, so let's just have a look at doing that. Should we do some training? Yep. Soon as she looks at me, mark and feed. Yep, she looks at me, mark and feed. I want that in a stand, so I'm just feeding her in the stand. Yep. Okay, so I've not really even trained her sit, but it becomes a default, well, a little bit just looking up at me. She wants to, yep, sit. Okay, and I haven't trained that yet. Yep, so I just keep feeding her in the stand. Now I can do a little movement. Okay, so we go to the left. Yep. Now I do my cue seeking. She's found some crumbs on the floor. Yep. Good. Feed her in the stand. And when she looks at me, ideally wait for your puppy to look at you before you cue anything. Okay, so I'm waiting for her to look. As soon as she does, I can do a little movement. Yep. Okay, might position myself in front initially. Yep. Okay, and can you see how she's beginning to offer those behaviours less? Just drop some crumbs on the floor. This is a problem we're using chicken. Yep. Okay, so there's the cue seeking. Yep. Whoosh. Excellent, good go. Okay, so that makes it very easy to start removing food from your hands, because the food, the dog can't actually see the food. Okay, so eventually this is just turning into kind of signals, manoeuvring the dog and luring the dog where you want them to follow them. Okay, and then you can begin to add your words once your kind of signals are working. So see these as your training cues before you put them onto verbal cues. And I do want my training cues about 99% reliable before I add that verbal cue. Okay. I like to start teaching puppies verbal cues right from the outset, because they're like sponges at this age, so they begin to connect with words as long as you're using them in a consistent kind of way. Another way that you can do this, if you've got a really small puppy and you're not able to bend so much, is by using a target stick. So I just showed Mex this about 2 minutes before we started. So what I can do, this is just a little measuring cup, and it's just on a little bit of piping. Okay, so I can pop the treat inside there when she looks at it. Yep. Okay, and I can lower it to the ground and let her eat out of it. I can actually deliver the food in many ways here. So I could have it with no food. Yep. Okay, and then I could feed the puppy for following it. Yep. So I'm feeding from my hand, but by the measuring cup. Yep. Okay, or what I could do is put the food out onto the floor. Yep. Yep. And although that would be difficult with that length to go through my legs, I think I could probably manage it. Oh, she's gone round that way. Yep. Okay, but it might be essentially easier to teach all your straight line movement. A lot of people that do heel work to music would use these. Yep. Okay, and I can pop it on the floor. But again, I don't want her attacking the measuring stick and biting it, so it's up to me to try and get that kind of stick kind of ahead of her. Yep. So that she's not jumping and pouncing on it, okay? So that would be another way. So that's quite a nice way to do it as well. Okay. Excellent. Good baby girl. Beautiful. Okay, I think we've got a couple of minutes left. Oh, we are about 12:30. I was going to see if I could fit in doorway exercises, but we will fit that in, and I will talk to you about it. Probably we'll try and include that in next week. So that's your lower hand. 6 simple tricks. Go to the left, go to the right in front of me, through my legs out to the left side, through my legs out to the right side. If your puppies are a little bit nervous of coming front on and through your legs, okay, then you can just get them used to this, doing a little chain of food. So I could just sprinkle some food going through my legs, let them walk through and get it. I wouldn't touch them while they're doing that, okay, because that's what they're a little bit worried about, what your intention is. Okay, so again, maybe just get them started, build up a little bit of history if they're a little bit nervous of it, and then I could mark them early as well. So what I could do is and pop the food on the floor. Once they get used to that as the pattern, they build up the confidence to kind of come round the leg. Okay? Right. That's it for today's session. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you for my regulars. I will be back again tomorrow, and we're going to look at the all-important recall cues tomorrow. Okay? So see you again 12:15 tomorrow. Goodbye for now.